Hey, welcome to a different part of my office for the Wednesday night Bible study. Let me give you a quick, just a quick devotional before we get started with the Bible study below. When I was a kid, there was a neighbor that moved in across the street from us on Green Acre Drive in Massachusetts, Billerica, Massachusetts. And I just remember that the family that used to live there, they were mean from what I remember. But, then one day they moved out. And I'm going somewhere with this. One day they moved out and a new family moved in. And I went over to meet the kids. I remember going over to meet the kids. I was invited to dinner, back when they used to do that kind of stuff. So I went. I remember I was invited to a Boy Scout jamboree from their house. And I had a great time. And again, I felt like there was something special about this family. They just displayed love and peace, and they really cared about people. And when they prayed over their meal, it was a thank you, and they included me in their prayer. I would say this: I don't believe there are so many big events, but rather a lot of small events that led me to my salvation. Now, I don't know if this is you, the way that you came. But I just remember the scene of the house. I remember the people just being so nice. There was something about it, and it didn't dawn on me until later in life that they were Christians. That was the difference, that there was this peace in the home. And then I remember going to this jamboree, a Boy Scout jamboree, which I didn't do the Boy Scout thing. But man, when I went there were just so many good people there, and it was just this gathering of the same family at a big place. And so, I don't know, but here's where I'm going with this. I see Jesus showing examples of this throughout his lifetime. Like, wouldn't it be great if we've been given the opportunity in all of this to forget all the habits of church going? Man, don't take it wrong. Forget all the rules and schedules and really just start being the church that Jesus showed us to be. Like, for instance, did you know that the book of Luke has over 40 references to the word house in it? Like, for instance, do you remember where the paralyzed man was lowered down through the roof and he was healed? Do you remember when Jesus told his disciples, Peter and John, to go make preparations for the Passover meal? Do you remember where Levi held a great banquet? Do you remember where Jesus raises Jairus' daughter from the dead? Do you remember the wedding feast? Do you remember the foot washing? Do you remember the tax collector's dinner? The list goes on, and that's just the book of Luke. Now, you know why all these people were standing in front of their tents when Moses went up to the tent of meeting? It's because they wanted the presence of the Lord to come to their house. I'm going to read you scripture real quick. In Luke chapter 5, verses 17 through 19, it says this. One day Jesus was teaching, and the Pharisees and teachers of the law were sitting there. I want you to think about where there was. They had come from every village in Galilee, from Judea and from Jerusalem. And the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Some men came carrying a paralyzed man on a mat and you remember the story, tried to take him into the house and lay him before Jesus. And I'm trying to read this off to the side here. When they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him in on his mat through the tiles in the middle of the crowd, right in front of Jesus. Do you remember that story? It was someone's house where their people had been changed. Like, it was the intimacy of the kitchen table where those new neighbors prayed for me. And don't get me wrong, I loved the jamboree, like where all the Boy Scouts came, all the families came from all around. They would gather and share their growth and accomplishments and achievements and encourage one another. I'm hoping that this season that we're in right now is actually giving us an opportunity to be the church like all 168 hours of the week. This Saturday, we're going to have kids' church at 10 a.m. You know why? Because We feel like that the kids are more susceptible to being active. Parents are more likely to, after a little bit of breakfast, after a little bit of cartoons, whatever it might be on a Saturday morning. I love Saturday mornings. Now that they would be able to sit and have kids church. We're not tied into doing things a certain way. And staying home has been important, I believe, to where we're going. Just like that family, just like in the book of Luke, over 40 times the house is mentioned. Just like so many times we think that maybe Jesus met at a church. It wasn't, it was a house. The Pharisees' house, even the chief priest's house. It just seems that is the core. Staying home is the core. This series is the core of where we're actually going. Because before we can be strong as a church in this community, I just feel like we have an opportunity to build our strength together. And then we got a surprise for you too, by the way, because this weekend is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, you guys, early even. So we'll be having kids church on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. And we'll send out invites to that. And then we'll have a regular church service and message worship time at 5 o'clock on Saturday night. But then Sunday, we want to do something special. So I want to talk about that in the study. And we want to do something special for the moms. And not only that, man, we want to be able to see what it feels like. I'm excited about one day being able to come back as a church. That all of those meetings they had at house to house and all of that, they led to gatherings on occasion. And so that's us. I would love that would be us, like this model from the New Testament, that we would be the church at our homes, in our apartment buildings, at our workplaces, with our friends, with our families, and then we would actually just come together to celebrate all of those things. Just like a Boy Scout jamboree, in a sense, that would be the celebration of the church in what Jesus has done during the week. And so we're going to have something for you on Sunday. Moms, we want you to load up the family in the car. Now, I don't know if you guys have been able to do this yet, but we're going to be very safe. We're going to keep our distance. We're not going to touch anything, that sort of thing. We're going to be sanitized. But we want you to come to the church on Sunday morning. And we'll tell you more about that. You're going to drive into the church. You're going to pick up a few things on the way through the parking lot. We're excited about this because I think it's just going to be cool. And then you're going to turn around and come around the parking lot and you're going to park right in front of the kids' playground. We're going to park so that there's enough space between us. And you're going to face the grass there at the playground. And then we're going to receive communion together. We're going to do a little worship together. Just going to have a brief message, I promise. And I just want to encourage moms, and I want to encourage the families to support moms. Moms, you are amazing, and it has taken so much especially through this time. So we want to celebrate that. Let's get to the Bible study. So start clicking below, fill in the notes, and be ready for Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Zoom meeting Bible study. See you there. Love you.